Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh back with you guys on a Wednesday with 11 games in the NBA. So a nice full slate to run through. We're going to be bringing you some best bets, some looks at sides and totals, got a couple parlays. Also going to be looking at player props in this episode. So we're going to be bringing you this one episode each and every weekday now moving forward. Instead of the two splitting them up, just going to have both the player props and best bets in here for you guys. So stick around for those. But so let's get right into your first best bet, Nate, and take a look at a couple games with a parlay that you're looking at here.
Yeah, I mean, I like both these favorites. They're both around -7 here. Pacers at home against the Nets. Rockets are in Memphis, but I think a safer way to play it is to do the old NFL adjusted line trick here, get them down below a field goal. I mean, you can go below the key number of 4 or 5 in the NBA. You don't necessarily have to go this low. This is just to get to even money for these teams, but I think both are certainly going to win. You look at Memphis is just a mess right now with the Ja Morant situation. It's also their third game in 4 nights, and they're already stretched really thin in terms of who they're playing on the wing. Really inexperienced guys, just not a lot around Ja, and he's going to get just hounded by Amen Thompson tonight, right? In that game, I do like Tari Eason for props because I think they're going to sit Jabari Smith at least one more game. Houston has San Antonio on Friday. So that's just a little aside there. But, I mean, they should still be doing their thing, Houston. Number 1 offense in the league. Pretty surprising, right, with no point guard. But number 1 with a bullet since their 0-2 start. 131 offensive rating. They're plus 21 net. In the last 3 since the job temper tantrum or checkout session, whatever, Memphis is 24th in net, 27th in free throw discrepancy, 25th opponent paint points, 24th opponent points off turnovers. Like everything you need to be better at to beat the Houston Rockets, they've gotten worse and worse at. I don't see where they have any advantage other than the fact that they're a home, I guess, but they have a rest disadvantage here. Probably can be brief on the Pacers beating the Nets. Yes, the Pacers are shorthanded. The Nets are the worst team in the league. Not even close. They have not even lost by less than 11 in any road game so far. They just gave up a 150 offensive rating to the aforementioned Houston Rockets on the road. Let Houston shoot 50% from 3. That's a bad 3-point shooting team. The Pacers have not been favored yet this year. But last year they went 30-7 straight up as a home favorite. And I mean, we just need the win here. They do have very good ATS numbers with a little bit of a rest advantage, which they have here. And yeah, I just think Nesmith, Siakam, still better than whatever the Nets are trotting out there.
Yeah, I just look for the end of if I'm looking at player props in those Nets games, I'm just going to the end of the bench for the other team. There's no garbage time for the Nets because all 48 minutes of their games are garbage time. That's really my take on that. The Rockets, the Grizzlies, yeah, you can say the same kind of stuff here. I think for the Rockets, the key is like Şengün's really, 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 really good. Maybe we should have never gone away from his assists, even at like 6.5, because he's got like 14 potential assists per game. So he is the point guard very clearly, and a really good passing center alongside Kevin Durant. Yeah, man, I'll take that for sure. And KD's like clear alpha. There's no Devin Bookers around. There's no anybody around. There's no James Harden. There's just Kevin Durant playing with guys that want to play off of Kevin Durant. And Şengün is also like a son in the universe that it's looking really, really, really good, man. So like obviously Ime is a coach that we should always be giving some kudos to. Right now, the Celtics and the Wizards are at 232.5 on this total. I also don't mind plus 12.5, plus 13. Where do the Celtics get off being 12.5 point favorites against anybody after you lose to the Utah Jazz without Walker Kessler at home, giving up 38 points in that third quarter? They're playing at the slowest pace in the league now. So like maybe you take that into consideration here. I think that's keeping the line down, if anything. And the Celtics, like they need help in terms of like the defense being bad. I don't know how else to say it because right now they're just chucking threes. It's just all threes. And it's just crazy what happens when you don't have Jason Tatum as the sort of anchor to everything. And I think we just really need to take one quick sec to go Jason Tatum is as good as everybody thought he was, and probably better than most people thought he was for how much he impacts a game. But the offense is still not what I'm worried about when you go up against the Wizards with the second worst defensive rating. They're playing at the second fastest pace, and they've shown to speed teams up, right? And the only key here is like, are they going to be good enough on offense to be able to score alongside the Celtics? So I think they're going to have plenty of opportunities to score, especially from three, where Washington is bad and they continue to be bad on the 3-point line. The interesting thing is, like, if Kristaps was there, if they had a stretch big, maybe I'd be like, hey, this is actually a pretty good matchup for Washington, because they just have Neemias Queta down low banging away, and he's going to do that against Alex Sarr pretty well. I think he's probably good for some boards. So there's going to be some overs here. I think there's some depressed and deflated sort of props as well, which we'll talk about in a minute, that lead me to like the over in general, because I think people are going to be scoring more than the books are giving them credit for.
But most of what you're talking about just sounds like you think it's going to be an ugly, frenetic game. So I don't know. Do you actually like Wizards and the points more? I mean, C's they have to get right here after like a little lull, but they do have at Orlando twice and then at Philly after this. Wonder if they have a tendency to kind of overlook the Wizards at times and get into games which they just overlooked the Jazz. So yeah, I would take the underdog here, right?
I do like them.
Yeah. Taking the short favorite here, though, the Los Angeles Lakers, who, man, JJ Redick is a wizard with this roster. Like, just continues to turn out incredible defensive numbers with no good defensive personnel, really. And now we're getting a Spurs team that was just exposed. It's a 1-game sample, but the Suns put up a blueprint of how you defend Wembanyama. How you dare these other guys to try to beat you, and they don't have other guys right now. I mean, Fox and Harper are going to be out right now. Also, Luke Cornett, so no backup for Wemby. And I mean, the Lakers are number one limiting centers scoring right now. They have both Jackson Hayes and Ayton, who's probably going to be dominating. But I mean, they have guys to throw at Wemby. I don't know what the Spurs have beyond that offensively. They have a stellar defense, but you have Luka, who is going to crack your defense. And I mean, the Spurs, I say exposed in the sense like schematically, but also their 4-0 start came against just complete garbage, like the worst teams in the NBA pretty much. And now we're going to see what it's like when they're ramping up a little bit. The Lakers have been playing very good competition. They're 14-3 at home with Luka since the All-Star break last year. Basically, 2 of those losses are to Golden State. So I mean, they're pretty much handling business against anyone but that particular matchup. Interesting, the Luka props. I mean, I think I would parlay like 30 points with this, right? I mean, he seems like he could be a Wemby killer. He shot very poorly in the last 2 matchups against Wemby, but he shot a lot. He shot 52 times, 23 threes, and he's coming off a 1 for 11 from 3. Still had 29 points. Like, he just seems like a walking 30 at this point. And I think that's gonna be key for the Lakers offense, of course.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, Reeves is questionable, I think, still is a big part too. But like, if they're 2.5 favorites with the consideration that Reeves might not play, then I think there's still people kind of keeping this thing at 2.5. The Spurs being exposed, the blueprint was there. There was gonna be some regression, right? They're just playing too well in that undefeated start. And then Dylan Harper is a big loss because they also don't have De'Aaron Fox right now. And so you're like, so who's the second? Is it Devin Vassell is the second scorer? I don't want him creating his own shot necessarily as that's a 15 to 17 a night guy. Like Stephon Castle is good in a vacuum when he's just barreling to the rim. And perhaps he is the beneficiary of that. But the Lakers have, like you said, been a bit better down low than we might have considered. And maybe JJ Redick has been better down low than we considered. But let's go back to this Wiz game for a second, because I do have an SGP because I like Keyshawn here again. And I think we're getting really good odds for him to go back to like 15-5. There's no Chris Middleton. It's a huge part of this. Like the 2 guys taking touches away from Keyshawn George in the starting lineup are CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton. Now I think we're talking about like Keyshawn George being way more the focal point within the starting lineup. And then you tack on that he will be getting just some minutes, like CJ McCollum subs out before him. He does get plenty of minutes as the dude, even with Bub Carrington on there, still out touching him in that sense. So love the potentials and everything. I think we get some value on Keyshawn more than anything because they got blown out in 3 straight games by 3 really good teams, including the Thunder. I think actually one of them might've been Charlotte a few games ago too. So I don't want to say all of them were good. But they got blown out in a way, and he had foul trouble and still was getting up there in the minutes. So he's 32 to 33 as long as he doesn't have 3 fouls in the first quarter, like he has been known to do at times. That's all I really care about. The potential staying at 10 per game, and even in those depressed minutes, we're still at like a really good potential assist per minute rate for him. So he's still getting undervalued in this way, where it's like he's gonna get the minutes. He's one of the few guys that I do know is gonna get minutes because Brian Keefe is brutal with these rotations, still playing a ton of vets, and then all of a sudden playing the end of his bench and not giving his actual future of his team garbage time minutes to get better. Weird stuff, but Keyshawn is the one guy that seems to be impervious to that.
Yeah, and these numbers particularly would get you like 3-1 on your money. You talked about also going like 14-4, still 2-1, basically there. I was looking at Keyshawn 2 here based on what you said. Yeah, nice buy low spot on the PA. The concern for me was foul trouble. Like if he's tasked with slowing down Jaylen Brown, is he going to get bodied up? He's been in foul trouble like 3 of his last 4 games. But I mean, the Celtics shoot so many threes, they don't really get to the line. They play slow. Like it's an opportunity to maybe get him off that primary assignment and see, and just keep him out on the floor. All right, well, getting into the straight player props here. We got a young gun here, Cooper Flagg, who has not met expectations thus far. I still don't think he's comfortable on offense. That's why I'm just going to take the other stats here, which gets you nice plus money. If you go for the 11 rebounds, assists, you can definitely eat the juice and get a 10 other places. But yeah, while he's not scoring that reliably, he is getting a team high 34 minutes in the last 3 since Anthony Davis went down. We know Derek Lively's out. We know Daniel Gafford is playing hurt. We know Dwight Powell is a bad rebounder. He's a weak 37% rebound chance rate in these 3. So it falls on Flagg and PJW to get the boards. And they're playing the Pelicans, who are going to be missing Zion, Yves Massie probably again. Interesting market. Yeah. For on DK is 8-1 for Flagg to be the leading rebounder in this game. I mean, what if nobody else gets to 8, 9, 10 boards? It's certainly possible that he gets 10 boards. Like, so I mean, because if you just look at the very small sample of his NBA career, I kind of filtered elite defenses, 3 games where he was just completely nothing, 8, 5.7, and 0.7 in those games. His 4 against average to poor defenses, we're talking 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. Obviously getting over this number. The Pels are obviously dysfunctional on defense. They have the worst rebounding rate in the league. They're on a back-to-back where they gave up tons of stats last year. They coming off their only win. I mean, Flagg, as far as the assists goes, he's been second in passes. He has 3.3 assists on 8.3 potentials, which is just screaming positive regression. I think Klay Thompson's going to hit a bunch of shots here with the way the Pels miscommunicate so often on defense, right? So I think both Flagg and D'Lo are going to just be kicking out for some easy looks to their teammates.
Yeah, this is the worst team in the West, is the Pelicans, not the Mavericks, the Pelicans. The Mavs have been underwhelming as can be. Cooper Flagg is in a really difficult spot for sure. I actually don't mind the points. I don't mind anything against the Pelicans. It's like a get right game for like every rookie is just looking at bigger minutes against the Pelicans. There's just so much opportunity. It's the vibes are terrible, obviously in New Orleans, and I think like the rebounds and assists great. I love the boards as much as I do anything because I actually do like D'Lo on the assists a ton. I do see Cooper Flagg playing off of him pretty well in this one again, and like he's played pretty well alongside D'Lo. D'Lo's had a ton of the potential assists. He's really come in, and once we get him up to like low 30s, high 20s, now I'm like, come on, man. When he has any kind of talent around him, he's still a very good basketball player in an offensive setting specifically. And so for going up against the Pelicans, yeah, they're bad against rebounds. They're bad against assists. They're giving up the 5th most to point guards at this point, who you care about getting that against them. They give it up for the spot up. One guy that would be interesting, I forgot to transition with that too, is like, Carlo Makovic is such a ball hog, rebound hog, that he could be a nice rebounds leader because Yves Massie is officially out in this game. Makovic had like 8 boards in like 24 minutes, I believe, yesterday. And now I see him getting a bit more. I believe Massie, I can't remember if he played yesterday or not. He might not have, but I know he's definitely out in this one. Yeah, so he's out again in this one. I think that's going to be another good look for rebounds. But yeah, either way, I think like you said, like 9, 10 boards does it. Even if PJ Washington's at like 2-1 to lead the game in rebounds, if we can get that number for him, I'd be using that almost as like a little bit of holdover. But there's opportunities here, and for D'Lo, it's just that simple. It's like when he's played 29 plus minutes, he's had 12 plus potential assists. I think that easily leads to 6 assists because you can get whatever you want at the rim, you can get whatever you want as a spot up shooter, and guys like Max Christie, even I think everybody good for overs here against the New Orleans Pelicans.
Right. I mean, I was looking at D'Lo too. The only reason that I paused is because Jose Alvarado basically jump started the Pelicans to their only win, and I don't see why Willie Green. It's one of his guys. Why he wouldn't continue to play him a little bit more over the Poole Fears disaster that has been. And Alvarado could definitely hound D'Lo, but I mean, he's still gonna. He's going to give up the ball. He's going to shoot a lot. So I mean, maybe I would go PA. I mean, since they embarrassingly lost to the Wizards, Jason Kidd realized they need a full-time point guard. D'Lo's averaged 17 and a half points despite shooting really poorly from three and 7 dimes. So yeah, if you want to not eat this much juice here, you see the minus 150. I think maybe you can add the points too. If you're not scared of Grand Theft Alvarado, right?
I'm not. I guess that's my only thing is like I'm not. I didn't take a look at. I just know he hasn't been playing that much. He did play 31 minutes against the Hornets and kickstart them to their win against the Hornets. I hear what you're saying too. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not scared of Jose Alvarado anymore for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what the Pels are doing?
Willie Green's not long for that job. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Okay, now it's Isaiah Jackson season, right? I mean, we tried to take him in the opener. He was not ready. He still was ramping up, but we're still basically getting the same line here after he goes for 21 and 10 in the revenge game, the big matchup against Miles Turner, right? I mean, even before that, he's cruising over this. The last 3, he has a team high 9.7 boards on 16.3 chances, despite only playing 6 minutes in that span.
Yeah.
Even before that, in the first 5, he's grabbing 5 boards per 16 minutes played. So as long as he gets the tick, as long as he's in a matchup where he can match up against the center, I think he will get that tick. And we're talking,
it's really the fouls too. Yes, the fouls. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and how much are the Nets really forcing the issue in terms of they're a jump shooting team. They're a bad jump shooting team that definitely affords you good rebounds. And they're also the worst defensive rebounding team in the league, 63%. And Jackson has 11 OREBs in his last 3. So, I mean, that could lead to the points as well. The double-double is 7 plus 750 in places here for him to get another double-double. I mean, maybe like a fifth of a unit there. It's his role to run with once he's healthy, and I think he is slowly rounding back into form after missing all last season, basically.
Without question. I'm still not even mad that we took him in the first game of the season. He had 3 fouls by the second quarter. He had 4 within the first 3 minutes of the third quarter. And then you look at the rest and then for the rest of the time, right? Like Carlisle just like, I can't play you, Isaiah. Like, you cannot keep your hands to yourself at this point. Like, we've got a couple other guys in. Obi Toppin was still available. Like, he could come in and play some. He's not around anymore either, right? Benny Matz was a really good rebounder that you still felt good about having other guys on the floor without your best rebounder, who is without a question Isaiah Jackson, right? There's really not even a close second, because now you're talking about like Tony Bradley is really big. I'm not going to call him a better rebounder than Isaiah Jackson. He's not getting more than 5 to 10 minutes either. So if Isaiah Jackson can just have less than 3 personal fouls at the half, then yes, he's going to be good for 10 boards. He gets a board every other minute essentially, and he was doing better than that, right? It was like more than that when he was in the first parts of the season and was getting 16 minutes and 5 rebounds, an even better rebound chance rate for him. So yeah, I love this. We're still getting plus money at 6.5. They're going to have to make this 8.5 before too long. And if he does start playing consistent 20 a minute a game, like we talked about in game 1 of the season, then he's up to double digits per game on the boards for sure. So love this. And the double is just way too low. We just watched Julius Randle walk his way into a triple-double against the Nets with ease. So yeah, I like this. And speaking of the aforementioned Jay Randle coming up against the Knickerbockers, and just like that matchup. I don't know if Ant's playing. I think 20 and a half rather it was 21 and a half at the open in a lot of places because Ant is questionable. I think it looks like I think he's still 50-50. I really don't have any insight into Ant playing, but I like taking bets like this when I like this number if Ant does play, and I love it if Ant does not play, right? And so then you take 25 plus, and you're getting a ton of value. If Ant does not play, this thing goes up to 23, 24 and a half points for Jay Randle, who's been averaging more than that when he plays without Ant, and when he plays on the floor without Ant, he's at about 28 points per 36 minutes. So this is all great. You can add the New York stuff. I do think there's some legitimacy to the New York stuff. Like he did play against them twice last season, had one really good game, and then one sort of dud that he didn't need to do much in a game that wasn't close. But then this past offseason, there's been a lot of stories that came out with Jay Randle about how much happier he is in Minnesota. Some shots at Jalen Brunson being like, it's much more fun to play when you're not just standing in the corner watching someone else do everything, that kind of stuff. And I just think that this is a sort of put up or shut up kind of moment. And his touches just tell you that, like, if Ant doesn't play, I love the dimes again. They're at like 4.5 juiced, but I would take 5.5 plus money because if Ant doesn't play, once again, the touches go up to team leader. It's really not even close in terms of who's second because it's a revolving door of like Dante DiVincenzo. It's actually Jaden McDaniels who's second at that point. I just don't really trust him. He's not a 17 points guy, so I'm not taking Jaden McDaniels in that situation, but I'm fine with Jay Randle. The Knicks are now playing Mike Brown defense last point. Mike Brown defense equals spot ups. So for Jay Randle, if he's on ball without Ant, love the assists as they collapse on him and then he kicks out to shooters. If Ant is playing, maybe Jay Randle's doing a bit more of that spotting up and then has the option to drive to the rim against a team that is probably not going to have Mitch Rob and is a bottom 10 rim protection defense without Mitchell Robinson.
And if Ant plays, he maybe sees a little bit less of OG on the ball, right? Yeah. Ant would be beating his timetable by like 5 to 7 days, right? If he goes tonight. So I don't know. I mean, we just saw Lamar Jackson come back pretty quick from a hamstring injury and not look like Lamar Jackson. So I don't know if Ant's going to be going for 40 right out of the gates, even if he does play. So yeah, I think you might even get more value on Randle if Ant is eventually ruled in.
Yeah, if he's ruled in and then is not really like a full go, it's another really, really good angle. But do not bring Anthony Edwards back on November 5th if he's not ready with a hamstring. Please, for the love of basketball fans everywhere, just let him sit out and maybe the Knicks can get an easy win. But that is all the time that we have for you in this one. We are going to be back on Thursday, one episode, putting them both together. So a nice long episode with both the player props and the best bets for you guys and all the analysis. So best of luck tonight on Wednesday. Until we see you next. Happy betting.